Hello, this is going to be a video about the basic programming language in the Scratch 2 editor. I have made a translation of Scratch that is another programming language, BASIC. BASIC is from the 60s and it's an interpreted version of Fortran, one can say. It looks like this in Scratch. You have to import the file here, import translation file, then you choose the file. And it looks, the instructions here are in the same order, say, or in Scratch, but they have different names here. You can see all the instructions here. Some are a bit long because it takes a bit more space here. So we look through everything here. The variables are as usual, and here we have some instructions to get and show and store. I cannot change the order of the arguments in the translation, so therefore normally BASIC assigns using equal sign, but you have to use arrow here, point in the other direction, so here the assignment goes in that direction, because you cannot change the order of the arguments. Now we should look at the fence. Control here. And, sensing. Operators. Here are the functions. These how that is. Okay. And now we can look at how a more complicated script looks like. For example, this here. This looks more like BASIC did then. So these go-sub, these are the go-to subroutine. It's the calling of events that waits until they're finished. Otherwise, I use fork if they are not waiting. A fork didn't exist in BASIC at that time, but since it's here, where fork goes to, for instance, and that's to make a new process, and then goes to, and that process runs by itself until it's finished. Then we can look here in another sprite, and here have this fork goes up one, label 1 there. And this costume, it's kind of a local variable here for this sprite. So I tried to make so that it looks like BASIC. Sometimes it's shorter, for instance when handling lists, I think. But I've thought it out rather carefully, so it may look strange, but it has been checked by other people too. It's probably this way it should be in order to be consistent. So it was discussed here a bit. I wrote this already in 2013, sort of 4 years ago, and I learned Scratch in the spring of 2013. So here are some translation problems I take up here. And well, so now it's been more people have looked into it now. And maybe it should go into the translation of other in other systems, that you can use it in other Scratch ecosystem. And it's here on GitHub. So and I think it has a MIT license, because it's the same license as the other translation files. And so I can see here that I started here in June. I published the first program, but then it was Scratch 1.4, and I learned that when I was in the Alps, so I remember that it was here. We should not look at that now. Yes, we're back here, and we can look at some other function here. I use events rather much here because I wanted it to be able to translate it to Scratch 1.4 to run on Raspberry Pi, because they didn't have a Scratch 2 at that time on Raspberry Pi. I looked at that already. But here is also an important procedure here, you can call it subroutine. You should call it, it's a label. And then you call it with GoSub. And we have some for loop here. They're very popular in BASIC. BASIC is also rather good for mathematics, because it has multidimensional arrays, and also good for string processing. It has better string processing than Scratch has, even though you could make this good BASIC in just 8 kilobytes of ROM memory. This here has a rather strange structure, but that's because it should be able to put in it in some other systems. But this is a file that one should load Or I can download that using raw command, I think. Put it like that, and can download it to your computer. So this contains everything, I think. There is another editor that's just for the translation system. It requires just an extraction of information from this file. I have a YouTube channel here about some of my Scratch programs and also instructions on how to write Scratch programs. So my most advanced program so far is this 4. It's a compiler and interpreter too. Yes, what? Okay. So perhaps yeah. So Scratch has the main features is that Scratch has very easy to create processes, and many programming languages it's rather difficult. And that you can do here is fork, and also when you switch costume and things like that. Let's see out here. Yeah, when you switch backdrop. And then also the clones are rather easy to use. There is start as clone. So this the BASIC didn't have this. And then of course all these sprite functions and that you can do with sprites. So BASIC, perhaps some BASIC did have some pen functions. Yeah, so that's about what I was going to show here. Maybe you want to see the rest of this video.